So conservative watchdog group asking for an investigation into Debbie Wasserman Schultz is not exactly a bad thing. I think there are questions she needs to answer. And I will read my questions out, and maybe you could tell me what you think. Number one, okay, so Imran Awan was arrested at the airport, and he had a flight booked to Pakistan, where his family is from. About $280,000 was wired to Pakistan by his wife. They were planning on being there for 6 months, the ticket said. Who knows if they planned on coming back. Debbie Wasserman Schultz fired him the next day after he was arrested. So the question is, did you plan on paying him if he wasn't arrested? Did you plan on paying him if he went to Pakistan and was not actually in America to do your IT consulting or IT advising? Apparently, through her statement, which I reported her statement last week, Debbie Wasserman Schultz said his arrest is what made her fire him. Okay, so if he wasn't arrested, were you going to pay him? You already paid him $5,000. We don't know how much of that $5,000 came after Imran and his family's access was severed, so they couldn't even do the work you're paying him for. Again, it's either she's stupid or that's hush money. My second question, if you, along with Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the whole gang, are huffing and puffing till you're blue in the face about Russian hacking and Russian interference, and our democracy is under attack. You got Donna Brazil hyperventilating. She's writing a book. If you are so worried about cybersecurity and at your private messages and emails and data and all that information being protected, how do you keep somebody on your staff that you keep paying after a criminal investigation is opened into them possibly stealing your data and stealing your equipment? So if Russia allegedly does it, we gotta go to war. All over. If Russia does it, we gotta go like that, go on CNN, go on MSNBC, but my own privacy, which I've already been a victim. I don't really think she's a victim, but I've already been victim to a hack or a leak. I don't think it's proven one way or the other, as you know. But so on one end, I'm going to scream and hyperventilate about cybersecurity and our democracy is under attack. But on the other end, somebody who's had access to my iPad password, my computer password, who set up emails, who has access to my laptop or had access to the laptop, I'm going to keep him on staff when he's under criminal investigation for stealing data and equipment, and all my colleagues have fired him? That is inconsistent, folks. That does not make any sense. Makes zero sense. You would not keep somebody on when you, last year, had all your information out to the public and you are huffing and puffing about cybersecurity, yet this man is under criminal investigation. Every one of your colleagues has fired him. You keep him on. Now, in her statement, which I thought was kind of weak, she said she didn't see any evidence and she thought there was racial discrimination going on. Really? Really? I'm not saying there isn't racial discrimination that goes on in the workplace, but in this case, if there's reason to think somebody has literally stolen your data, stolen your equipment, you're going to say there's no evidence and you see possible racial discrimination? Well, why would they suddenly racially discriminate against Imran now and not for the 10 years he's worked for all the House Democrats? So just now there's racial discrimination against him, but for the last 10 years, his and his family, it's been reported, have made over $1 million from their work for House Democrats. So now there's racial discrimination against this man. And again, in fairness, we don't have proof that he has committed a crime yet. There's suspicion, but he's innocent until proven guilty. And I don't have proof that Debbie Wasserman Schultz has committed a crime. There's suspicion, but we cannot, just because you might not like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I need to be fair as a journalist, as opposed to some other people who claim to be journalists but aren't. Not naming names. Last thing. Again, what exactly did you pay Imran Awan and his wife for $5,000 over 3 months, the first 3 months of this year, if for 2 of those months they were under criminal investigation and they had no access to do IT work? Was it a bonus? Was it a delayed Christmas bonus that you paid in the first 3 months? These are all common sense, not conspiracy theory questions. I, as a congressperson or a businessman, probably would not pay someone $5,000 for IT work if they didn't have access to even do IT work for me. Most people don't need advice on IT. They need somebody to do the IT for them. Before TYT, I worked in several office jobs. I never had an IT department that worked with me, or, that I worked for, that just gave me the advice on what to do and didn't actually go in and troubleshoot for me. Sometimes they would guide me, but overall, they had access and they went in and they fixed whatever the problem was. They set up whatever systems they had to. So these are very important questions that Debbie Wasserman Schultz won't answer. And let me tell you something. With a Republican Senate, a Republican House, a Republican president, who, by the way, has been retweeting stories about Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I think they're going to get their investigation into her. And this is the one case, I agree with the loony nutso Republicans, there should be an investigation into her. Because you know what? I don't care if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, or an alien. If there is a history of you having very, very suspect ethics, you demonstrating corruption, and now all these inconsistencies and questions, this needs to be looked into. Because you know what? The bottom line is the corporate media will not report this and they won't say this, but any common sense would dictate if Imran Awan was under criminal investigation, if Imran Awan had no access to do any work for her, if Debbie Wasserman Schultz has actually threatened the chief of Capitol Hill Police with consequences if she doesn't get her laptop back that has been seized during this investigation, common sense would dictate she's worried something of hers is already out there and she's at risk of illegality. And if not illegality, high embarrassment. That's common sense. I don't have hard facts of that, but I'm looking into it. I'm doing my reporting. And by the way, just my 2 cents. Make up your mind as viewers. I always keep it real. On one end, you knock me and others. We don't report the things you want. And then when we report them, oh, where were you for the last 5 months? I've been busy doing a lot of things. You can't have it both ways. Either you're happy something's being reported, or you want to complain that it wasn't reported when you wanted it. I'm one person. So, everybody, let's have some kumbaya here. And I'm on painkillers for my back. So give me a little break. Now, I've reached out to Tim Canova. If you watched on Friday, I interviewed him live on TYT Politics Facebook. We will be taking clips from that and putting it on youtube.com/TYT Politics. During that, we spoke about everything from this investigation into Imran Awan and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We spoke about the DNC fraud lawsuit. We spoke about his campaign against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, his second campaign, and what he's going to do differently. You can go watch that on TYT Politics Facebook, and we'll be putting up clips on youtube.com/TYT Politics. Tim did not get back to me with a comment on this call for an investigation. I don't know if he didn't get back to me because he doesn't have a comment or he just hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I have reached out to him to ask about his response to the calls for an investigation today. I will continue looking into this.